Welcome. Today is January 22nd, and I am Citizen Dave Lewis. And Mr. Wren attended my speech on setting the course for the future of America I gave recently to an Optimist Club, and he asked me to address you today. Many in the group are starting businesses. We have a very distinguished audience here. My current enterprise includes Citizen Dave Lewis World Peace Through Music, and I'm also initiating focus groups for change, speak out day events for President Obama's transition team. Now, this week in time, there are a great many historical events. We have the inauguration of President Obama, but we also celebrate the birthdays of Benjamin Franklin and Martin Luther King Jr. And there's another event this week also. It occurred on January 28th. I'll be telling you later what that is. I'll give you a hint, though. It occurred during the administration of President Reagan. Now, there appears to be much fear and lack of confidence being promoted these days in our country, particularly through the media. Now, personally, I prefer the attitude expressed by Franklin Roosevelt, that we have nothing to fear but fear itself. So I decided the topic of my speech today would be The Fork in the Road, 2009, Principles for Success in Business and Life. And the word fork, F-O-R-K, stands for Franklin, Obama, Reagan, and King. Now, among the many quotes from Mr. Franklin are, "Make yourself sheep and the wolves will eat you." And also, "God helps those who help themselves." Now, Franklin was the most prolific business starter and networking promoter in the history of America. And out of the enterprises he started came innovations like the potbelly stove, bifocal glasses, lightning rods, volunteer fire departments, and the principles of government that created the foundation of the United States. There's a county in Pennsylvania named for Franklin. And during the 1750s, it was a pioneer area subject to Indian attacks constantly. Now, most of the people living in Philadelphia, 200 miles away, did not want to make the investment to protect the settlers. But Franklin advocated for defense of the settlements. And today, the area surrounding that county is home to the underground Pentagon and Homeland Security headquarters, a major Army base. John Brown stayed there before the raid at Harper's Ferry, and Lincoln stayed there before delivering the Gettysburg Address. It's a very prosperous agriculture, business, and government service county. Now, the Citizen Dave 5 principles for success begin with number 1, a dream or a vision. A dream or vision. Now, certainly, Dr. King expresses that eloquently in his I Have a Dream speech, and which is a very positive outlook for civil rights. Second principle is capital. Capital. That helps you realize the dream. Now, there's a story about a rabbi. His name was Isaac, and he lived in Krakow. And he had a dream and a vision that there was buried treasure under the bridge leading to the palace in Prague, Czechoslovakia. So he walked all the way from Krakow to Prague looking to follow his dream. And when he got there, there was a guard at the bridge. And the guard asked him what he was there for, and Isaac told him, and the guard laughed at him and said, "You can't follow your dreams. If I had followed my dream, I would be walking to Krakow because I had a dream that there was treasure under the hut of a rabbi named Isaac in Krakow." And with that, Rabbi Isaac turned around, went home back to Krakow, and he dug under his hut, and he found treasure there. So you got to follow your dream, and you got to find capital however you're going to get it. The third principle is tenacity to overcome adversity. Tenacity. And certainly President Obama represents this quality. And I recommend reading his autobiography, Dreams from My Father, and you will gain insight in a most extraordinary background of a man with more diversity in his life of anyone in the country since Alexander Hamilton. Now, I participated in an event during Christmas with the Colfax Community Network. And it was to provide presents to children and their parent who are living in transitional and emergency housing in hotels in Aurora. And it was a heart-rending community event to participate in. And there I met several high school cheerleaders. And I asked them if they are sharing their skills with the elementary school children. And the response was, "Well, we're a poor school. We don't have a bus to go anywhere." And I said, "Well, is there anything wrong with your feet?" I said, "You don't need a bus to walk to the elementary schools within a few miles of your high school. Share your cheerleading skills. Just call the principal or the gym teacher and Tell them you set up an event and you can share them with what you know and your passion. And give the kids in the elementary school some hope and something to look forward to. And I said, never, never, ever let financial excuses keep you from sharing something that you love with someone else and reaching success. And they said, well, they never thought of that, and they think they would do it. So, fourth principle is attitude. Attitude is most important for success. And President Reagan can be cited as an example of how significant that attribute is. There were many challenges during President Reagan's administration, and I mentioned one before. The January 28th incident was the explosion of the Challenger space shuttle. So also when President Reagan survived his assassination attempt, which had almost succeeded, he is given credit because of his attitude that he even survived. He had lost half his blood supply, and he went into the hospital and he was telling them he still had a sense of humor. He said, well, I just forgot the duck. And also, he was getting wheeled into surgery, and he looked at the surgeons and he said, well, I hope you're all Republicans. And also he had a setback a few days after the surgery and remarkably survived for a 70-year-old man. And they brought him some bills to sign the next day, and he said, I knew I couldn't get out of staff meetings. So Reagan's attitude is given credit for saving his life, and attitude is essential for success and is most important when things look good. Now the fifth principle is faith.